Right. Okay. So let's talk about one of those signals that you just kind of, you just touched on, but it's one that I don't think people really understand. And that is internal linking and passing authority around within the site. And I see it where people, they're going to have 3 pages perfectly optimized for the same keyword. And that confuses the hell out of Google, I would assume. How do you handle internal linking? How do you approach a website and
Man,
structure that?
so those are 2 big questions. I think to touch on the first part, like internal linking is about building the relationship between pages, which in turn builds a relationship between the keywords that you're trying to rank for. Thinking about just semantic language and things like that help Google better understand what your website is about. But when you get into like site architecture, you do want to make sure that the information flows easily and naturally, both for people and for the search engines, and make sure that sort of experience is easy to follow. Because if your content is all over the place, and you don't really have much of a hierarchy in terms of the content that you're trying to present, Google's going to have a hard time understanding how to really rank those pages, and makes it hard for people to really understand and flow through the website to your desired goal.
Gotcha. Okay. So now the one thing I want to go to is, and we were talking about this briefly before we actually started the recording, and that was, you had said, today I want to focus on what can be controlled by people, right? And so let's dive into that. Where do you want to go with that?
Man, I mean, we all have limited resources, right? If we're running businesses, we're running companies, what have you, like your time is finite. So investing energy into the things that you can control, like which keywords you're targeting, what the messaging is on the website, how good of an experience that website is for your customers, I think are things that you should really focus on.
Yeah. And okay, so I want to challenge you on something. Okay. And here's the problem I see with that philosophy as a whole. If I start a website from scratch, right, and I have a kick-ass user experience, I've got my content perfectly optimized, but if I don't ever build any of the offsite elements, am I ever going to rank?
Yeah, you will. Maybe not as well, but you will rank.
Yeah.
And but the opposite is true. If you just go out and build links all the time and your web experience sucks, like it doesn't matter how many people you bring to the website, if that experience isn't engineered or designed to help, generate more revenue, all the keyword rankings, all the traffic in the world won't mean anything if they're not buying from you.
Well, and that brings an interesting point. You're right. And this is a conversation I've had countless times with people. They go, what's the secret to SEO? Like, what's the number one thing? I'm like, well, okay. In my books, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree, the most influential ranking factor is backlinks.
I agree. Totally.
Right.
100%.
But as you said, when people ask me that, I always preface it with, but you're not going to rank well unless you do the other things good too.
Yeah. And it depends on the space too, right? Like local businesses will have better opportunities with like their Google My Business listing and smaller competitive circles than an e-commerce platform. Like I could think of tons of Vancouver services that rank really well, and they have maybe like 5 to 10 backlinks or like linking domains. And so, yeah, it really, there are dependencies for sure, but yeah.
No, I've seen exactly that. In fact, I know a gentleman who does SEO for local businesses, and he even guarantees a certain increase. And I thought initially, I'm like, oh, where's he getting his backlinks from? But it was all on site. He'll look at a site and see, okay, yeah, this is crap, and I can make it better.
Yeah, that's a lot of it, right? If you can target those keywords properly, and then once that foundation is there, you can build out other parts of it too.
Okay, so let's tease this apart a little bit. You got local businesses, right? And then you've got e-com, like the
Mhm.
Shopify stores, and then you've got blogs and more info-based sites. How do you approach those differently?
Oh man. Okay. So local ones, I would say we focus on the Google My Business listings, as well as tailoring content that speaks to the communities they're a part of,
Mm-hmm.
but also speaking to their target audience in that sense. With Shopify websites, the e-commerce platforms of the world, it depends. Like I've seen a lot of success where you focus on the long tail keywords around specific products,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then working up towards focusing on the category pages and then going for the big head terms that their homepage would potentially attract. E-commerce depends on the space they're in. Like if you're shopping for furniture, you're going to search for chairs and or couches and things like that. So you'd want to be ranking well for those category pages. But if you are something, I don't know, like a hobby shop as an example, and you sell Pokemon cards, like the specific series of cards that you're looking to sell, optimizing for those products will help you catch those, longer tail keywords that are way less competitive and help generate revenue and traffic that way. And then with the last one with blogs, like you definitely want to be thinking about the topics that you want to be ranking for and be known for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would depend on what the goal is for those blogs. Is it just eyeballs to generate ad revenue, or is it subscribers? Then thinking about it that way.
Okay.